Alrighty, here we are back for another week at Just Gay Stuff Podcast. I am Jess.
And I'm Lauren. I wasn't prepared for the alrighty.
Why?
Because, I don't know, we normally just say, hey.
I'm trying new things.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying new things. Got to keep it interesting. Got to, spice it up sometimes.
Not the kind of spice I was asking for.
What kind of spice were you asking for?
Can't say that on that podcast.
I'll put some chili in your dinner. All right. Well, lately we've been giving you a lot of fun episodes rather than the more serious episodes.
I love fun episodes.
Yeah, I have to say it's been a nice change to not get into some harrowing details about where we've come from and where we may be going.
I think it's been good too in my personal life. There's been a lot of things that have been like drowning on me and weighing me down, especially being in a current workplace that's not a safe environment for me. And that's just essentially grown. To have the fun episodes kind of lifts the weight off it a bit.
Yeah, you come home and you can do some fun things instead of thinking about all those terrible times that you've been having. Well, sometimes life can get a bit too serious, even though we are delving into some serious issues on the podcast now and then. It is nice to have some laughter and some fun.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, a few weeks ago, Lauren put me in the hot seat for a little episode called Second Date or Ghost.
Oh God, I'm scared now.
And today I thought we would do another episode of this, except today I would put Lauren in the hot seat.
Ooh, okay.
So if you missed this last time, definitely go back and listen to that episode. But
that was a fun one. I enjoyed doing that one.
I enjoyed it too. It was like being on a game show.
Yeah.
But for anyone who didn't listen to that episode, the way it worked was Lauren gave me a dating scenario and I had to answer with these terrible situations and some maybe not so terrible situations.
Yeah.
Would I ghost this person or would I essentially give them a second date? So this time, Lauren has to be the one answering.
I think it depends on the, like you said, I think it depends on the situation because you can't really know someone after a first date.
I'm glad you said that because before we jumped into this episode, I wanted to ask you, have you heard of the 333 rule of dating?
No, I haven't, but that's very angel number spicy.
Well, apparently it's come from a TikToker. But apparently there is also some science behind it. So the general rule of dating is after 3 dates, there should be mutual attraction and not to expect mutual attraction after just one date.
Is that why, I can't speak for everyone, but in most heterosexual movies you see, I won't sleep with anyone until the third date?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't speak on the heterosexuals' behalf. The second 3 is after 3 weeks, you should have had 3 dates, continued communication and have a better assessment of potential and chemistry between you.
I feel like a straight person may have written this because lesbians would be there straight away. I'm just kidding.
And after 3 months, your relationship should have either progressed towards exclusivity or become clear if the relationship is a positive long-term fit. They say after 3 months, you start to see the honeymoon period wear off and you see how people show up for you in realistic situations.
Our honeymoon period hasn't worn off.
No, it hasn't.
We definitely have both.
They say that a good relationship, the honeymoon period doesn't wear off.
To be fair, I was going to say it took us 4 months to be official, but we were exclusive after like the second date.
Yeah, but we didn't know we were.
No.
I was going to say our relationship was more like if we're going to talk the 333 rule, it's like 3 text messages, 3 minutes, and then 3 nights in a row.
Yeah, literally.
We're still on our first date.
Yeah, clearly.
And that's the lesbian way. Okay, so I'm going to kick into our first scenario.
Ooh, okay, wait, let me get game show ready.
I want you to sit. I want you to close your eyes. I want you to relax. I'm going to talk about this in first person for you. I think it's first person. I don't know. I'm not good with points of view. Okay, let's kick in. You're sitting in a bar with a drink in front of you. Mm-hmm. You've been talking to this girl for 3 weeks. Oh, there's a number 3.
Yeah.
And it's your first time meeting up. There was a bit of back and forth trying to set this date up in the first place. A couple of days would go by without a reply, which you had to chase up, but she finally agreed to meet you out at a nice place for dinner. You look at your watch and it's edging on 40 minutes past the time you agreed to meet when you finally see her walk in. She looks flustered. You wave her over and she starts walking towards you. When she sits down, she apologises for being late, but tells you the reason was because she just had a massive fight with her ex. Straight away, you feel uncomfortable because suddenly you find yourself listening to her bitch about all that was wrong with her last relationship, but she is still speaking highly of her ex. You both order your meals and you decide to try and steer the conversation into getting to know her a bit better, but you find yourself asking all the questions and she hasn't asked you anything about you. That, plus the fact that every question you ask, she talks about her ex. Even the place you decided to meet at, she smiled warmly and told you that her and her ex used to come here often. Nothing much changes about the conversation. You seem to be a soundboard for her ongoing issues, but at the end of the night, before you leave, she apologizes and tells you she's not usually like this. She knows she's not been herself while she's trying to handle this past breakup situation, and she owns up that she's aware she's never really got to know you on this date. So she asks if you would give her a second chance and asks for another date. Second date or ghost.
This is an interesting one. Listening, like, I made a few noises where I was like, ugh, I wouldn't. But I think I would give this person a second chance. Only because the irony is you and I talked about our exes on our first date, trauma bonded.
Probably not in every conversation, though.
No,
we
not
really
in
got to know each
Not
other.
in every conversation. The only thing that I can think of is maybe whether it was this girl or the person in the situation said, like, I would have just said, oh, are you sure you're still up for this? Maybe we should reschedule for another time and have that, because obviously she was already flustered by the situation that was going on. And maybe that person wasn't ready to be out on a date yet.
Yeah,
and
maybe
they haven't had
ready.
enough healing done yet. So either way, it's not fair, but it's not a reason to ghost someone. I think I would give them the benefit of the doubt.
I also want to add in there that just because somebody can be caught up on their ex and speak highly of them doesn't mean they don't know that they shouldn't be together.
Yeah, exactly. I think the most rewarding thing out of this is that, you know, she had every opportunity to speak negatively of her ex whilst being flustered, and she didn't. So I think I would give that a
And she
fine.
took accountability at the end by
Yeah.
saying she was aware of her actions and her emotions and what she had done.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. So I think that I would definitely give this person the benefit of the doubt. And
All right. First
Second
one,
date.
Lauren's given a second date.
yeah, what would you do?
I think I would give a second date.
Yeah.
But I would kind of do what you said and maybe tell her that maybe she needs a bit more time before, and then to let me know if she actually wants
When
that.
she's ready. Yeah, I think like everybody has flustered moments. So I think it's just what it is.
I think the bottom line is dating is hard.
Yeah, sure
Dating
is.
is very hard.
Dating is hard.
And finding somebody who is on the same page as you is very hard.
Sure is.
So if you have somebody who is always on the same page as you, hug that person tight.
I do.
Aww.
We run a queer podcast
We
together.
do. All right, are you ready for the next scenario?
I am. Okay, I'm pretending to be single now.
Okay.
Date number 2.
You're on a date with someone who openly told you they made no plans except to get to know everything about you. The only problem with this is you aren't at a bar, you aren't at a restaurant, you're just walking around the city while they ask you question upon question about you, but offer nothing about them. This is like the opposite to the first date.
I was like, is this like from the other person's perspective?
At this point, they could completely be a serial killer and all you've done is told them everything about yourself except for where you live. Suddenly, you walk past an escape room. They suggest it would be a perfect activity to really get to know each other intellectually and how you think.
Or murder you.
You love a challenge and believe that you do have some smarts up there, so you happily oblige.
Somewhere.
I just want to be with someone who's on the same page as me.
No, it's supposed to be
On the
level.
same
Get
level.
it right. Fuck off.
That's what Lauren said to me on our first date.
I'm still looking.
You excuse yourself to the bathroom before going in, and when you return, your date has chosen the room and paid for it in full and happily asks if you're ready.
If I didn't know this was an escape room, that sounds hella kinky.
It's a BDSM room.
Yeah.
You say yes, you're ready, and you think that the gesture was super sweet of your date. But when you get to the door of the escape room, you realize they chose the hardest room available. I want to measure your intelligence, says your date. The way it's said puts a bit of a sour taste in your mouth.
Yeah, I just made the facial
choked on
I
it.
made the facial expression to that sentence.
You get inside and the escape room is fun, but they are all over it. Except for the puzzles that need 2 people to solve, they are doing everything and don't really seem like they need you there. You get out with about 2 minutes left on the clock and they're celebrating because of the room difficulty. As you walk away from the place, they gloat with happiness how they can't believe they solved all the puzzles, and then said it probably would have taken them less time if they didn't need 2 people for some puzzles. You don't know how to take this because you're unsure if they just like the challenge of doing things themselves or if it was a swipe that you slowed them down. They ask if you would like to end the night with ice cream and offer to buy it for you. You agree and they say they've had a really great time and would love to do some more adventurous things with you. Second date or ghost?
Ooh, that was a lot to unpack in that one. I'm not one for ghosting because I'm about communication and I've been ghosted.
Yeah, well, in my episode of this, I started it with a precursor that I would never ghost anybody.
But in this situation, if it was to say blatantly on this date, I think I would ghost. Only because I feel like they're not really wanting to be on a date. They are just wanting to have fun with themselves. Also, how many times have you been to that escape room with however many previous dates or partners to know all those puzzles by yourself? And I think the fact of like questioning the intelligence and stuff really
narcissistic tendencies.
Yeah, it's the narcissistic tendencies.
Red flag.
For me. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the red flag. Also the fact that I'm all for people being chivalrous and offering to pay for things. But I'm also like, is that a sense of controlling what you do and controlling
I got that too because it wasn't like a mutual decision of which one do you want to do? Let's choose together.
Yeah, and at least, you know, when you and I went on our first date, you asked me if it was all right if you could pay and stuff like that. And since then we had like a competition till, you know, we were just like, oh, let's just have a joint.
Did I pay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Do you not remember that? No. You paid for the dinner. We both did not eat.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So based on that, I think I would ghost, but I would just politely say, look, I had a cool time. I think maybe you're looking for someone else.
I would ghost too, more so on the fact that they weren't willing to offer up any information about themselves to you.
Yeah, that too. That's a bit suspicious. I'm like,
do you have a family and you're out here dating people?
Yeah, that's kind of like way back when we did, I can't remember what episode we did. Maybe we did weird first dates or worst first dates. One of them when I told the story about my best friend going on that date with that guy who lived in
took her to an apartment that clearly wasn't his.
Yeah. I was like, I've seen way too much crime and SVU shit like the one we watched last night.
Oh, yeah. We've been watching reruns of SVU because new seasons are about to come out. So
to go through this. So, yeah, I agree. I think not having the information on this person, not really knowing who they are, that would scare me. And I think that would kind of put me off the date. I wouldn't want to go to the escape room if I was the only one talking about myself. It would be like pulling teeth.
Mm-hmm. And I feel that someone who is about inflating themselves only cares about their own ego. And do you know how draining it is to be around those people that every time you offer something, I mean, this person wasn't like this, but I've been around people and I'm sure everyone has someone like this in their life where every time you say something, they go, oh yeah, well, I did this. Oh, well, I did. And I kind of got that vibe by the end of this date purely because they were saying like how good they were at things.
That also makes me question the person themselves, and maybe it's from the years of therapy I've done and all the
Where's the integrity?
All the self-reflection. I'm like, what is wrong with this person internally that they're craving so much validation?
But not giving any personal details.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
So ghost.
Are you ready for the next one?
I am ready.
Okay. You agree to meet a date for lunch on a Saturday. You aren't one for lunch dates because you think they scream friendship. But your date says they have a very overly busy work schedule and lunchtimes are the only times they have available, so you agree. I have to admit, I'm kind of not one for a lunch date.
Oh, yeah?
No, I think I agree with this person. It screams friendship.
Really?
Yeah. You're indifferent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Date's a date.
Well, when you arrive, you see your date waiting at a table in a giant chicken costume.
I wasn't prepared.
Kind of looking like Big Bird from Sesame Street. When you sit down, they immediately apologise and tell you that they work for a baby animal farm that does the rounds at kids' birthday parties. And unfortunately, the party ran overtime and they didn't have a chance to quickly pop home and change because they didn't want to keep you waiting.
That's a bit cute.
When it comes to ordering, you order coffee and they order 2 glasses of warm milk. Okay. You think it's weird and they start telling you how if you care about your body, you would drink less coffee and just more milk. They make a few jokes about how you're lucky they're a good-looking bird and you laugh because they are quite good-looking and you understand the joke because they're wearing a bird costume. When you order your breakfast, you learn that they're a vegetarian. You need to take yourself out of the scenario of you being a vegetarian.
I know, I've taken myself out, don't worry.
Okay, so when you order your breakfast, you learn that they're a vegetarian, which you understand because they work closely with animals. But they then ask you if you would mind not eating meat while you're there with them because it upsets them too much. You agree because you don't want to make the date uncomfortable. Don't mind if they were making you uncomfortable by asking, whatever.
Yeah.
Your meals come out and everything seems fine. They seem grateful that you chose to support their beliefs for the date, but then they load a YouTube video on animal slaughter and ask if they can show you why they chose to be a vegetarian. You want to decline because you're aware it's not pretty and it's not something you want to spend the date doing. They spend the rest of the date giving you facts about being herbivore versus carnivore and offer to walk you to your car at the end. But before you leave, they give you a carton of free-range eggs and ask you if the next date they could take you on could be to an animal sanctuary so that they could show you firsthand what they're involved in and how you could also make the world a better place. Second date or ghost?
Oh. Again, not ghosting, but ghosting.
Ghost but not ghost.
Yeah,
sorry,
ghost.
not sorry.
Well, I would communicate and say, look, I had a polite time.
I had an interesting time.
I had
a polite time with you.
I had a nice time with you, but I think maybe we're better off as friends or whatever. It's again that factor that we see in religion or even in the queer space where everybody's like, don't shove it down my throat. It's the same with veganism and vegetarianism. I understand people's beliefs and you can have your beliefs and your rights, but don't shove it down other people's throats. If you had asked and was respectful of the fact that this person chose not to eat meat because you were uncomfortable, that's fine. But then allow them to decline watching the animal slaughtering videos. So I would ghost on this one.
I would ghost on this one too. Ghost, not ghost. But purely based on the fact that, like you said, everyone is entitled to their beliefs 100%. You can do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anybody else. However, some of us, we don't have to all be on the same page.
No, we don't.
And so I think it's best sometimes if we just find people that share those beliefs.
That's what I think. I think this person, the vegan or vegetarian person, would be a lot happier and probably in a happier relationship.
Well, they weren't vegan.
Or vegetarian.
Because they gave eggs and they ordered milk.
Sorry, a vegetarian. That was the other thing that got me on the bad train was, telling someone what they can and can't put in their body.
Yeah.
Like, you're each your own individual person. You should be able to make your own beliefs. And if your date, again, it's a control thing. If your date is starting out as a first date saying, oh, you can't do this or you shouldn't do this because of this, and I feel uncomfortable because of this and you're not going to listen to me, I'm like, that's a control thing and I'm not for it.
Yep. So ghost.
Ghost.
Yep. I agree. I would also ghost. Okay, next one.
Ready.
You met a girl at a fundraiser you attended for work. That's funny because we were talking about this before.
There was the irony.
She sat next to you at the pre-arranged table and you hit it off almost immediately.
I love this pre-arranged table.
Yeah, because it's like a seating chart, like at a wedding.
Trust me, I know.
She's funny, smart, cute, and she weirdly looks familiar to you, but you don't know from where.
Just Gay Stuff Podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
After the formalities of the night are over, you decide to hang back at the bar and stay with her for a drink. You recently had a bad breakup a couple of months ago, and this is the first time you've actually felt light and you've had some fun since your ex left you. You didn't even want to attend this work function tonight, but you're glad that you came. You start talking to her about your past and how you're very grateful to have met her considering your recent breakup and how shit you've been feeling. You don't know why this is suddenly all coming out. You just feel so comfortable with this person. While talking about your recent trauma, you mention your ex's name, and she mentions that she has a cousin with that name that also just went through a breakup. Oh no. You ask her the last name of her cousin, and the name matches.
Oh no.
Your ex is this girl's cousin.
Oh no.
She laughs it off and exclaims what the odds would be of this happenstance meeting. But you're in shock, hoping you hadn't said anything too poorly about your ex that could get back to her, even though all that you said was true. While you are thoroughly enjoying getting to know this girl, you're sad that the possibility of taking it further would be tainted, but before you excuse yourself to leave, she says she knows it might be weird, but would you be up to meeting up sometime? Date or ghost?
I think I would ghost.
Yeah, even though you had such a good time?
Yeah, no, it makes me uncomfortable. Maybe I'm not one of those lesbians that are all involved in the map and we all know each other. And
You don't want to be on the L word map?
I don't want to be on the L word map.
We all are to some extent. Can I tell you, you're already there?
I know I am. Our first episode talked about how we're on the L word map. Don't worry. I think I would ghost because I would just feel so uncomfortable and you wouldn't know how much was real or how much was getting back to the ex.
But she didn't
girlfriend.
Okay, from this perspective, you don't know the backstory. So all you can say is this cousin didn't know that he was the cousin's ex.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a fishing expedition.
No, I know. But now that you're aware of the situation,
yeah,
it's like, okay, imagine like this cousin. You don't know how close these cousins are either. Imagine going back and being like, oh, you'll never guess who I went on a date with tonight or who I met with tonight.
I know, but what if it was like girl of your dreams and you're walking away from it?
Oh, I
like
don't
what
know.
if you just chose the wrong family member for the beginning and then this was actually the
but
stepping
wouldn't that
stone?
feel so weird being into like the family from like
Totally.
one to the other? Yeah, nah, I couldn't do that.
But it's like,
Nah.
what if it was amazing?
Nah.
I don't know. I think I'd second date.
Oh.
Well, I would first date because that technically wasn't
really
a first
a date.
I would go on at least the first date.
Okay, well, I'd like to know what our audience think because we're in fisticuffs over
Fisticuffs?
this. I would ghost and you would date. Lucky we're not in that situation. We have the love of our life next to each other and neither one of us are dating our cousin.
Wow, I'm glad I'm not. I'm glad you're not my cousin.
Yeah, same.
Okay, next scenario. You liked a girl that you worked with, and before leaving your current job, you were thrilled when she asked you out on a date. Mm-hmm. She said she didn't like to date people she works with, but since you were leaving, she wouldn't mind getting to know you better outside of work. You happily agreed and made some plans. She told you she wasn't into big gestures or anything too crazy or expensive for a first date, so she hoped that you weren't either. You didn't mind. You told her you would be happy doing whatever she planned. She picked you up from your house and told you she had planned a nice drive. You didn't mind road trips and you thought driving would be a nice way to have a great conversation and get to know someone. 5 minutes into the drive, she takes a phone call and puts it through the Bluetooth of her car. You can hear everything. Her and her best friend having a grand old chat. 20 minutes later, she's still on the phone and you've not reached your destination. In fact, you think her talking on the phone is kind of distracting her driving.
Oh no.
That, and you think you've learnt more about her from just listening to her conversation with her friend than anything else. You finally pull into a lookout and she hangs up the phone to her friend. You get out and she gets some supplies out of her car. It looks like she's planned a picnic, but when you go to sit down, she opens the bag and there's binoculars, a camera, and an artist pad with pastels.
Oh goodness.
You make a joke about how you thought she'd planned a cute picnic, and she fires back saying, I told you I wasn't going to spend money. You said you were okay with whatever. You feel a bit stupid because you did say that, but you kind of expected a little bit more. She tells you this little trip is a good look into what she does in her spare time, and what better way than to get to know someone.
Jesus.
She hands you the binoculars to have a look. You admit the scenery was beautiful, a little lookout reserve on a cliff above the water. She draws on her artist pad and you try to make conversation, but she only gives one-word answers. It's pretty clear she's lost in concentration on her art. She asks if she can do a sketch of you, and you say yes, because it's the most she's spoken to you this whole time. When she finishes up the sketch, it does look amazing. It's clear she's a great artist. However, you still don't know too much about her. It's been a few hours and you're starting to feel hungry, so you ask her if you could buy her lunch. She says she doesn't really have much more time today, but she'd be happy to drop you off somewhere or drop you home, and asked if you wanted to go for dinner sometime. Second date or ghost?
Oh, ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives me the same vibes of I only care about me and I want to do this. I can understand where both people are coming from in terms of like, she's like, oh, I don't really spend that much money, but a picnic's not that much money. You can grab anything from your cupboard.
Also, you as the person going on the date, also offering to buy her lunch, and you're willing to go halves on whatever.
Yeah. And I did not think we were going to get to artists. I thought you were going to say like she's a PI or a stalker in her spare time.
Bird watcher.
Yeah, well, I've got nothing against bird watchers.
Okay, just for shits and giggles, if she had been a PI and she was on a job and had taken you with, still ghost?
Yeah, I think so, because I'd be like, you still haven't told me anything about you. I don't know any information.
But what a cool job.
That doesn't mean anything though. Just because they've got a cool job doesn't mean they're a cool person.
That is very true. Very true.
I think if you're having to like...
I was looking at it shallowly.
Yes, I think if you're having to ask and, again, draw blood for answers to a question, that's not a way to start a relationship or go on dates or have communication.
Do you know what I think?
What?
Controversial, but I think when you sit down with somebody, you know within that first 15 minutes to half an hour if you like that person.
You didn't know with me.
No, but we had good conversation.
Yeah, true.
I liked you as a person. I didn't know if I liked you as a love interest.
Look at us now, baby.
2 years later. All right, ready for the next one?
I sure am.
Okay. You meet a girl online who you found really attractive and got along really well. You set up a first date. She picked the place. It was a nightclub in the middle of the city. You were excited and drove all that way. Showed up early and paid a ridiculous entrance fee. You weren't making much money at the time, so it definitely hurt your pocket.
She must have been hot.
Well, also, I'm like, a nightclub
Yeah,
isn't
that's what I was
exactly
thinking. I was like, a
first
nightclub's
date
not a
place.
date.
Oh,
Yeah.
You had still been texting when she explained that her and her friends were getting ready and were running a few minutes late. This was the first time you heard that she was coming with friends.
She was inviting you to a nightclub.
Yeah.
Just saying.
True. You wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt because maybe she didn't feel comfortable. That's okay.
Fair.
You understand that meeting new people can be difficult. Over 2 hours later, she finally shows up. The only reason you didn't leave was because she had been texting you, giving you excuses and asking you to stay, so you did. You finally see her come flying through the front door with her friends like a gaggle of drunk geese. Giggling and arms linked together. There's 10 of them.
10?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know 10 people.
Neither.
My soccer team.
Yeah, I was going to say that's what it is, your soccer team. That's all the 10 people I know.
You stand there in plain sight, making sure she can see you. You smile and wave, and she looks right at you but walks right past. This pisses you off. But you wait until they pay to get in and then try again. She finally acknowledges you, gets all excited, hugs you, and tells you that you look cuter in person. Then your conversation is interrupted by her friend pulling on her. She tells you she'll be right back, but disappears for what seems like forever. You're waiting in the busy bar for what seems like a minute of this girl's attention. When she finally comes back out, you ask her if tonight was a good night for a date or should you reschedule because you don't want to continuously interrupt her with her friends. She tells you she didn't know this was a date. She says you just wanted to meet up, right? None of her friends know that she's bisexual and there's no way she would have brought them if she knew this was a date. She asks if you'd be willing to try and meet up another time where she definitely won't be around her friends. Do you second date or do you ghost?
Oh, that's a hard one. I think depending on this, I would politely ghost.
How do you politely
I don't know
ghost?
how you politely ghost, but politely ghost. I don't think you can use the excuse, I didn't know this was a date, because the terminology, let's meet up or let's catch up for a drink or whatever, it's pretty standard date culture.
It's pretty self-explanatory if you ask me.
However, I do think it is on your terms. If they had said to you, oh, let's meet up at a nightclub, I would be like, are you sure you're aware this is a date?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't just go to a nightclub. And if I'm waiting 2 hours for someone at a nightclub, man, I'm going to hook up with someone else over there because stuff that.
I would have left straight up.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard because you can understand maybe in the coming out process for someone who's not dated, maybe someone of the same sex before, that it's exciting, but you also don't know how your friends are going to take it and you think you're ready and then you're not ready. But I think that also comes down to communication.
And that's what it is. It's the age-old word of communication. And I get it. You struggle with it when you're struggling internally with yourself, trying to understand yourself. And like we always say on this podcast, your self-discovery journey is ongoing.
It's a long one.
It's
from birth to death, to be honest.
Literally. But I think it's a hard one because you don't know like what the circumstances are leading up to it. But I think if this is this person's first go, I would maybe ghost. Otherwise, unless they've showed like initiation afterwards to try and really self-discover and be open and wanting to go on a date and reach out to you, then maybe I'd reconsider the ghosting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Factor.
I think that I have been involved with people that are like just frivolous before, and they just see you in a fleeting moment and they care about you 1 minute and then they care more about their friends in the next. And so based on
not fun.
that experience, I would just straight up ghost.
Ghost, yeah, fair.
Yep. Alrighty, I think we're going to end on this next one because it is a little bit creepy, but I do want to see what you would do in this scenario.
Okay, I'm scared. Lay it on me.
Okay, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to feel like you're in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Get in the feels.
You just got out of a terrible breakup and decided that you were going to try the online dating scene.
Dun, dun, dun.
As we all do. You matched with a girl that seemed to be pretty genuine. She was decent looking and wasn't horrible in phone and text conversation. You decide to meet at a restaurant to grab dinner and drinks before maybe heading to a club. Again with the club, I don't think. Yeah, anyway.
Also, at least I can say that in these stories, no one said, let's meet up at their house.
I know.
Or in a car.
I know, that's so good. Waiting for her at dinner, she is 20 minutes late. And after some apologising, the conversation seemed to go great. She even looked exactly like her picture, which never happens. Shortly after getting there, you both decide to order dinner because you're both very hungry and mutually had a rough day at work. She offers to pay even though you were the one that asked for the date, which you think is sweet. Shortly after ordering, she grabs your hand as it was resting on the table next to your drink. She proceeds to hold it and seems to have no desire to let it go.
Flashbacks.
The conversation quickly then switches from work and friends to how she has baby fever.
Oh.
All of her friends are settling down and having kids, and it's the thing in the world that she wants the most. You also want children eventually, but it's not something you thought you'd be talking about on a first date. I kind of get like you have to be on the same page with what you want eventually.
I was going to say, I don't know. We've talked about weirder things on a first date.
Maybe the words baby fever are a bit like bold.
It's a lot, yeah.
Yeah. She's still holding your hand and no amount of tugging will give her the message to let it go. Your food finally arrives and you think, thank heavens, I can finally get my hand back. But no, think again. She wants to hold hands and eat at the same time.
How would you do that?
Well, clearly you're not using a knife and fork. You don't need both hands for whatever you've ordered. Silly you, wanting to make a good impression, only ordered a salad, which is totally doable with only one hand. Rookie mistake.
Yeah, that's on you, man.
The waiter comes over and can obviously see your desperation. The waiter notices and accidentally spills your wine on your date. Your hands are finally free. Your date rushes off to the bathroom to clean up. She seems overly understanding after having an entire glass of red wine dumped on her. The waiter apologizes, then looks you dead in the eye and says, I've got you, go now, I'll take care of it.
Jeez.
At this point, you have no clue what happened after you left, and you didn't care. You get a text later from your date that says how she hopes everything is okay, but you don't know how to respond. A day or so later, you get a message from a co-worker that someone is waiting in the hallway for you where you work.
Oh, God.
You think nothing of it and walk out to see who it is. You open the door, turn to see who's there, and it's your date.
That's creepy.
You don't know how they found out where you work, as you don't recall telling them. They reach out to grab your hand, and they tell you they realize they came on a bit strong on the first date, but they wanted to be upfront. Would you be interested in giving them another shot? Second date or ghost?
Oh, I feel like you already did the ghosting.
Well, they ghosted once, yeah.
But,
so second date or second ghost?
Second ghost, or mutually just be like, it's not a vibe for me. I think, yeah, your date did come on a bit strong with the overly
Very
holding
strong.
hands. When we first met, we didn't hold hands until like, I think we were like 3 hours into our date or whatever.
Probably.
Something like that. And it was only because it was like
You went for the
freezing.
grab though.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
No,
Yes, you
had
did.
your hand.
No, I had my hand on the table and you went for the grab. I remember you doing this. You were like, put your hand out and you were like, grabbed my hand.
Oh, I thought you had your hand out and you grabbed my hand. I went for the kiss later on.
Oh, maybe that's what happened.
That's what happened.
I don't know.
That's exactly.
It's been so long.
It has. That's what happened because I remember you had the hand out and it was like calming me down because I was shaking.
Yeah, because it was cold.
Yeah, that's why. But then it wasn't later on until we were kissing. Yeah, I think I would ghost, especially because, like you said, you didn't know if you spoke about your work, and at this
red flag.
rate, red flag, stalkerish, and at this rate, you didn't know. Yeah, you didn't tell this person where you worked, and you didn't.
I think the big things to recognize in this story is A, you don't know how they found out where you worked, and B, while you're realizing that they were upfront with what they wanted, you just got out of a breakup, which I mean, you could say you were grateful that they were upfront, but also you're in no position to be pushed into something that is too quick for you. So I would say ghost.
Yeah, I would say ghost. It's a lot full on to be holding hands constantly.
Also, I feel like if you feel that tug and you're holding on, you're not really being respectful to what that other person is showing you or telling you. So I feel like little things like that do get bigger over time. And so, you know, let's dodge the bullet.
Yeah, they
while we
do.
can.
And it does show that respect or lack of, really. And again, is that person just so headstrong on wanting babies and you don't know what their age is? And of course, but it's like,
I know people like that are like, oh, everyone's having babies around me, so I just want to find someone so I can have a child, and then I don't care what happens in the relationship. Look,
that's sad.
It's no way to start a relationship. If you want a kid, just go for it by yourself,
like
and then find
Katrina
someone.
Gorey did. And then she did it by herself, and now she has a wonderful family. Yeah, I was going to say wife, but it's family and stuff.
Do you know what? These date stories have like made me crazy.
They mentally drain you, I think. Anyways, even listening to this one, it just reminded me that we've both had situations where people have shown up at places or delivered things that we did not tell them.
Creepy things happen all the time.
They sure do.
Well, we wonder what you would have done in a lot of these situations. Would you have second dated or would you have ghosted? Would you have agreed with Lauren or I, or would you have disagreed with Lauren and I? If you have a worst first date that you want us to include in our next worst first dates episode, please send it through justgaystuffpodcast@gmail.com.
Or if you have a weird second date or ghost story, or a story maybe where you've had to ghost because of your worst first date.
Something, yeah.
That's a new one.
You know, we always want to hear from you.
Interchanging the two.
And yeah, we just want to make the best episodes we can for you.
All right.
So until next week,
I guess you better remember to
stay gay, motherfuckers.
I'm talking about, you're talking about, we're talking about just gay stuff.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Just Gay Stuff. Make sure to follow us at Just Gay Stuff Podcast on all your socials and write to us with your stories at justgaystuffpodcast@gmail.com.